Hello, it's Erica. Welcome to my eclectic escape. In this video, I want to talk about traumatic brain injuries. What is it? Who has them? Who can get them? And how it can affect a person moving forward with their life. So what I've done is I've gone and pulled up the definition of traumatic brain injury. What is it? A traumatic brain injury refers to damage to the brain caused by an external physical force, such as a car accident, a gunshot wound to the head, or a fall. A TBI is not caused by something internal, such as a stroke or a tumor, and does not include damage to the brain by things such as lack of oxygen. So, in 2008, I broke a windshield of my car with the hit. I started it about this big and somehow managed to get out of the car once I heard some noises under the hood that really freaked me out. So I got out of the car, fell to the ground, kind of blacked out. Blacked out for a while. I woke up. There was an ambulance there. I'm getting loaded in. I have a neck brace on at this point, and I'm getting loaded in on a stretcher. That is how my brain injury first happened. After that injury, I spent several months trying to recover from it, and it was very difficult. I went through quite a period afterwards where I just kind of shut down and closed the world out. I isolated myself to my bedroom. I pushed all my friends away. I just kind of gave up, threw my hands up, said, there's too much going on right now. I can't handle this. I can't handle this. I'm just going to shut down for a little bit. Meanwhile, I was in a relationship, not the best one. I was in a very physically and emotionally abusive relationship with someone who I thought was my high school sweetheart. Wrong. He ended up enlisting in the military and was gone during this time. He was down south, I was up in Maine. All we had was letters, so I didn't have to deal with him on that aspect, but moving forward I'll get there. So anyway, I'm dealing with my injury. I ended up having to drop out of school. I was enrolled in a psychology program up at the University of Maine, and that was my plans. That's what I had planned on doing. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to study psychology. I wanted to help people. And now I realize just how valuable that path of psychology and learning about the brain affects me now. So I had my car accident, didn't know what to do, dropped out of high school. So I ended up moving down to Georgia. Went down to Georgia with my boyfriend at the time, and we ended up getting married. Had a courthouse marriage, and yeah, things weren't quite as I had expected. He actually became very dependent on alcohol, and it got really hard. There was just a lot of abuse. For a while, I was living in a motel room in Georgia, and he was going to work, and I was just trying to pass the time. And then we ended up getting a small apartment. We had nothing in it. We had nothing. So we had this empty apartment, had our clothes, we had a bed. That's it. So we lived like that for a little while. over time, things got progressively worse. I tried getting a job. I was working at JCPenney for a while and trying so hard to pick myself back up. I wanted to get back into school so bad, but I knew that physically going to a university wasn't really an option for me at that time because, and still to this day, I have a very hard time concentrating and retaining information memory-wise. So I didn't know what to do, and so I just kind of kept going day to day, just going through the motions, basically. Um, and then the day came when my ex got orders to relocate. So we packed up my car and we headed out to Manhattan, Kansas. Never would have imagined myself living in Kansas. There definitely is no place like home. So we get out to Kansas. We find this beautiful apartment, brand new. It was a brand new apartment. It had central air. It had a built-in dishwasher. I had 2 bathrooms. I loved it. I loved it. I was in love. It was a community pool. We had some good neighbors. Everything seemed like it was going to be okay. So we were there probably, I want to say a month, 2 months, when he got orders to deploy. And I'm like, okay, all right, I could do this. I've been through harder things. I'll get a job. I've got my schooling. What's the worst that could happen? This will be good. This will be all good. So meanwhile, I'm not even thinking about the fact that I have a traumatic brain injury. I broke a windshield with my head. You ever done that? No? I don't recommend it because it really hurts. I broke a windshield with my head. So I was suffering from post-concussion syndrome. I was suffering from PTSD, anxiety, depression. That all goes along with the injury that I have sustained. So here I am trying to make the best of things, and my ex starts dipping out on me, and I caught him. Found messages on his cell phone. I found photos, very, very inappropriate emails getting sent back and forth. I was devastated. So, add insult to injury, and you have the perfect concoction for disaster. So at that point, we were just so rocky. This happened right before he deployed, so I'm like, all right, great. So what do I do now? My husband, this man who supposedly loves me, is asking for sexual favors from this chick that's in the next town over and wanting to go meet up. So I'm like, ugh. And I took it. I accepted that abuse because I didn't know any better, and I didn't. He made me feel like no one could love me. No one can love you because you're fat. No one can love you because you're crazy. No one can love you. No one. Excuse me? Excuse me. So, went through a lot of stuff. He ended up deploying, and I'm living out in Kansas all by myself. And I just turned 18 years old. I was just turned 18, so hardly any life experience, and here I am living as an adult. So I'm doing the best I can. I'm going to work, going home, doing my chores, getting my house clean. I'm doing all these things, but everything just felt like what am I doing? What am I doing here? Am I waiting for him to get back so he can just come and abuse me some more? What am I doing? So probably about 3 months into his deployment, he's in Iraq at this point, I'm out in Kansas. About 3 months into it, he he starts emailing me, accusing me of cheating on him. If there's anything that I know about myself and something that people know about me, it's that I am a loyal person. If I love you, I will give you my heart. I will let you hang on to it, because I thought that love and trust went hand in hand. Nope, they don't. Well, at that time they didn't. So he's telling me he's gonna divorce me. I'm getting like divorce papers in the mail, and I didn't know what to do. And then he does that, and then he goes and cancels my bank account. My bank account. Well, we had a joint account, but my paychecks were going there too, and so I lost all access to my money. And so I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, and I call it a blessing in disguise now. I do. But it's like we have these earth angels that are meant to come in at just the right time and help wake us up. I had forgotten that I deserve to be loved fully and not to just be somebody's doormat. I didn't deserve that. So, as fate would have it, I had somebody come into my life that really kind of opened my eyes. He was very straight up with me, and I was like, what are you doing? You don't deserve this. You don't deserve that fool. This fool don't deserve you. And I said, damn, you're right. You are so right. He's accusing me of cheating because he was cheating. And to learn that lesson was so hard for me. So hard. So back to brain injury. There I go on my tangents. I'm living with this injury, and I'm trying to get help. I'm going to doctors, and I'm like, I'm so depressed. I'm so upset. I'm so anxious. I have all this dis-ease going on in my body. At that point, I was probably about 200 pounds. I had gotten really sick from the birth control that I was on, and unhealthy eating and living and not living the life I was meant to live. All these red flags were there, but I'm like, whatever. I just shrugged it off. I didn't know any better, and I never really had any good teachers in my life to teach me what love is really supposed to be like. So I'm going to the doctors, and I'm trying to seek out, like, maybe some counseling or something, somebody to talk to, or whatever. I want to see what options are there for me. So I see these doctors, and all they want to do is give me pills. Have some Wellbutrin, have some Klonopins. Oh, you can't sleep? Have some Ambiens. All these names. They're throwing all these drugs at me. I didn't even have time to look them up quick enough. I'm just like, yeah, sure. I don't know what else to do, so sure, I'll try it. I'll give them a try. So I did, and I lost my shit. I lost my shit. I, for a moment in time, lost who I was, and I just didn't care. I drowned out the pain with the alcohol. Sleeping pills helped a hell of a lot. Looking back now, I can't hardly recognize that girl. I don't even recognize her when I look in photos, or when I'm reading old journals, or even old Facebook posts that keep coming up now and saying, oh, this happened 5 years ago. It's like, who is that girl? So, while I'm out in Kansas, I made some new friends, the accusations that I was cheating on my ex just kept going, kept coming, kept coming. And finally, I told him he needed to just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I can't handle this anymore. You're supposed to be over there doing a job, and all you're doing is making my life miserable. Cut it out, you know? So I I ended up shutting my computer off. I shut my phone off. I just shut everything off because I just couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't handle the abuse that was taking place with these thousands and thousands of miles between us. Like, what the hell? So that all happens. And what does he do? He goes and he calls the police on me. He tells the police that I am out of control, that I'm suicidal, that I was a danger to myself, and that somebody needed to go get me and help me. So what happens? Sitting in my living room, relaxing. I had just worked. I get a knock at my door, and I have a couple of officers standing outside of my door. Hi, officer, can I help you? They tell me they need to take me in. They tell me that they need to take me down to the hospital and have me checked out, that my husband had called and informed them that he was concerned. He told them all kinds of things, told them that I had all kinds of pills in me, and, you know, that I was a danger to myself. So at that point, I got a little emotional, obviously, because I'm like, excuse me, no, I'm not, and I'm here in my home, minding my own business. Why are you gonna come and try and take me away? Obviously, that's gonna upset me. You're not even giving me a right to speak as a person. You're going off what this person says thousands of miles away, and you. So they ended up taking me. And the whole time I was very upset. Like, where are my rights? Where's my phone call? I'm not even going to jail, and I don't even get a phone call. They took my cell phone from me, and they put me in a room. It was probably like a 6x6 room in the hospital with clear windows, and they kept me there. They kept me there for, I want to say it was a little less than 24 hours, because finally, like, my parents are getting concerned for me at this point, and, what's going on. I'm like, they could clearly see once I had calmed down that this isn't what you think it is, and you need to let me go because you're violating my rights. Thank you. So, went home, and I took a little while to just kind of think about what I was going to do. The stress was just too much. At that point, I was in a really bad relationship. I was abusing my body. I was, putting toxins into it that didn't belong there. And I hated the person that I became. I would look in the mirror and just look at myself and be like, who is this girl? What happened to that bubbly brown-eyed girl who was so happy? I was always such a happy person, and then a series of unfortunate events hit.